Leo was not like the other boys on the alien colony planet Virex 9. While others played war games and trained for soldier life, Leo spent his days reading, fixing small machines, and studying strange creatures in the forest. His thick glasses always slid down his nose and everyone called him the nerdy Earth boy. But Leo didn't mind. He liked peace. He liked silence. One afternoon, the sky turned gray early and the winds carried a strange, sharp smell, like burning metal and wet fur. Leo felt something in the air, something wrong. He packed his small scanner, grabbed a flashlight, and followed the scent into the deep woods. The trees in this part of the forest were taller, older, and more twisted. Branches looked like claws, and strange green moss glowed faintly on the bark. Most humans avoided this area. They said creatures lived here that didn't like being seen. But Leo wasn't afraid. He had been here before and had never seen anything dangerous. Until now. Leo stepped over a thick root and froze. There, lying in a shallow pit between the trees, was something small, shivering, and covered in dark chains. At first, he thought it was just an animal, but as he moved closer, he saw its body was shaped like a wolf, but not any kind of wolf he'd ever seen. It had 4 strong legs, dark, silver fur, glowing blue eyes, and 2 long ears that twitched when he moved. Strange markings ran along its spine like lightning frozen into skin. Its legs were chained to a heavy stone. Around its neck, a tight collar hummed with a faint blue light. The creature was breathing hard. It looked weak. Its fur was dirty and one paw was bleeding. Leo's breath caught in his throat. "Who did this to you?" The baby alien wolf looked up, its blue eyes meeting Leo's. There was no anger, only pain. Leo stepped closer, hands raised slowly. "I won't hurt you." The creature didn't move. Leo knelt beside it, inspecting the chains. They were not normal metal. These were forged alien bonds, etched with strange energy lines. The collar around the wolf's neck pulsed when he touched it. It was dying. Not from injury, but from abandonment. Leo reached into his bag and pulled out a small tool he had made, half scanner, half unlocker. He placed it near the lock and tapped the screen. The collar blinked red, then green, then click. It opened. The wolf didn't leap or growl. It simply looked at him, long, deep, like it was trying to understand his heart. Leo opened the other, chains one by one. As he removed the last shackle from its back leg, the creature finally stood. Its legs shook. It could barely walk. Leo removed his coat and laid it on the moss. "Here," he said. "Rest." The creature stepped forward slowly, then collapsed onto the coat. It let out a weak growl that sounded more like a whimper. Leo sat beside it, brushing off bits of mud and blood. "I'll take care of you," he whispered. He didn't know why he said it. He didn't even know if the creature understood. But something inside him knew. This wasn't just a wild animal. This was something more. That night, Leo made a shelter under the thick roots of the old trees. He lit a small fire, far from the creature, just to warm his hands. He kept checking the scanner for energy signatures in case whoever chained the creature returned, but no one came, only the sound of night bugs and soft breathing. Around midnight, Leo woke to find the creature sitting up. Its eyes were locked on him, watching. It didn't attack. It didn't run. Instead, it limped forward, placed its head gently against his shoulder, and let out a deep rumbling sigh. Leo froze. Then slowly, carefully, he placed his hand on its head. The moment he touched it, something strange happened. The markings along the creature's back glowed brighter, and Leo felt a warm pressure in his mind like a distant voice. Not words, but feelings. Trust, sadness, fear, relief. It was trying to speak. Leo looked down at the creature. "You're not just a wolf, are you?" The creature didn't answer, but its eyes told him enough. It had been chained, hunted, left to die, and yet it still trusted him. Leo reached for his notebook and wrote one word at the top of a fresh page. Nova. That would be its name. He didn't know why, but it felt right. The stars above twinkled softly as the wind brushed through the trees. And in that quiet forest, one lonely boy and one broken alien creature found each other, both unwanted by the world, but maybe not alone anymore. The morning light touched the forest gently, but Leo didn't feel warmth. He sat beside Nova, the alien wolf he had freed the night before. Nova's head rested on Leo's leg. The silver fur now looked softer, less tangled. But deep inside, Leo could feel something strange, a connection. Not just emotional, something deeper. As the sun rose, Leo saw it clearly. A glowing mark had formed on the back of his left hand. It looked just like the lines on Nova's back. Thin, bright, and pulsing slowly, almost like a heartbeat. "What is this?" Leo whispered, turning his hand. Nova looked up. His eyes, deep blue and glowing, watched the mark too. He didn't bark or growl. Instead, he nudged the hand with his nose. The moment they touched, the mark pulsed brighter. Leo's heart raced. This wasn't normal. He grabbed his small scanner and ran it over the mark. Unknown energy signature. Linked biofrequency, detected. Origin, non-human. Warning, bonded imprint active. Bonded? Leo repeated. What did I do? Nova licked his hand once, then walked ahead, limping a little less. Leo had only meant to help the creature survive. But now, he was part of something far bigger. Later that day, Leo took Nova to the small hut he had built in the woods, his secret lab where he kept old alien tech and books. Nova sniffed everything, but didn't break a single item. He even curled up on a warm mat near Leo's workbench. Leo flipped through ancient scroll copies he had found in the colony archive, mostly forgotten texts about alien species that once lived on Virex 9. One image made his eyes widen. It showed a large wolf-like beast beside a tall alien princess. The creature had the same glowing marks, same long ears, same blue eyes. The text read, "Stellar Fang, protector of the royal blood, one soul, one bond, until death." Leo's mouth went dry. "Nova, you're one of them." Nova tilted his head as if listening. Leo kept reading. The scroll described how the Stellar Fang bonded with only one being in its life. A soul-deep bond that couldn't be broken. It said the creature would grow stronger, smarter, and more powerful as the bond deepened. Leo looked at his hand again. "That's what the mark is." He looked over at Nova. "You chose me." That evening, Leo heard strange sounds outside the hut. Metal clicks, boots on stone. Nova stood instantly, ears sharp. A low growl escaped his throat. Leo peeked through the cracks in the wall. 3 tall men in black armor were scanning the ground with glowing devices. They had weapons, large rifles that hummed with energy. On their shoulders, Leo saw a red symbol, a broken fang. One of them spoke, voice sharp and cold. "The beast trail ends here, it's close." Nova growled louder. Leo grabbed his small pack, stuffed it with scrolls, energy bars, and tools. He turned to Nova. "We have to leave. Now." They ran through the forest, Nova moving faster with each step, Leo close behind. Branches whipped past. The sun dropped low, and shadows stretched. Behind them, Leo heard a voice shout, "There they are!" A shot blasted a tree beside them. Bark exploded. Nova spun, growled so loud the air shook, but Leo pulled him back. "No, Nova, we can't fight. Not yet." They reached a stream and crossed it. Leo tossed a small EMP device into the water behind them. It flashed blue and shorted out the hunters' scanners. It bought them minutes, not hours. As they reached a rocky cave, Leo dropped to his knees, gasping for air. Nova stood guard, tail high, eyes glowing. "We need help," Leo said. "We need answers." Then he remembered the old AI in the mining ruins, once used to map energy life forms. It might still be working. It could tell them who Nova really is and why he's being hunted. He looked at the wolf beside him. Can you take us to the canyon ruins? Nova paused, then nodded. It wasn't just instinct, it was understanding. That night, they stayed hidden. Leo wrapped Nova's paw with cloth. "I'll protect you now," he whispered. But what scared Leo most was the feeling inside his own chest. At that mark on his hand was growing brighter, and deep in his heart something was changing. He wasn't just a nerdy boy anymore. He was bonded, chosen, and that bond was waking something inside both of them. Something ancient, something powerful. Leo and Nova walked through the quiet forest at dawn. The trees whispered in the soft wind, but Leo's thoughts were loud. His hand still glowed faintly with the strange mark, pulsing in rhythm with Nova's heartbeat. It made him nervous and curious. They were heading to the old canyon ruins, a forgotten mining site from the first Earth settlers. Deep inside the rocky cliffs was a library core, powered by ancient alien tech. If anything had answers about Nova, it would be there. Leo looked down at Nova, who walked beside him like a shadow. The little wolf had grown stronger overnight. His wounds were healing fast, and his glowing blue eyes stayed sharp. It was hard to believe that just 2 days ago Nova had been left in chains to die. Now, Leo was the only one standing between him and the hunters. They reached the canyon by noon. The entrance to the ruins was half buried by a landslide. Leo used a laser cutter to open a path. The air inside was dry, cold, and filled with echoes. Nova sniffed the ground carefully. As they stepped deeper, the old systems flickered awake. Lights blinked, machines buzzed. The library core was still alive. "Here we go," Leo whispered, and approached the glowing console. He placed his hand on the surface, and the glowing mark reacted. The system didn't ask for a password. It simply opened. A deep, calm voice spoke from the console. "Genetic Guardian bond detected. Welcome, soul-linked host." Leo blinked. "Soul-linked?" Nova tilted his head. The voice continued. "Request access to Royal Guardian records?" Leo nodded. "Yes. Show me who he is." A projection appeared in the air, a large, full-grown version of Nova. Its fur shimmered like starlight, and fire danced at its paws. Around it stood tall, alien royalty in silver armor, their hands on its back like trusted friends. The voice explained, "Species, Stellar Fang, created by ancient science and soul magic. One Fang bonds with one soul forever. Guardian of the bloodline, defender of worlds." Leo stared in awe. "Nova, you're not just some animal. You were made to protect kings and queens." Nova let out a low, soft growl. Not angry, just sad. Then came the next image. A baby Stellar Fang, just like Nova, being stolen from a royal ship during an attack. Flames, screams, and then silence. A shadowy figure locked the baby in chains. The screen went dark. Leo clenched his fists. He was taken, raised in pain. That's why they left him to die. They thought he was useless. The voice returned. "One last warning. If the soul bond awakens fully, both guardian and host will change. Emotion becomes power. Rage becomes flame. Heart becomes weapon." Leo swallowed. "What happens if I break the bond?" The voice paused. "You can't." Suddenly the system flickered. A red warning flashed across the console. Unauthorized energy signature detected. Multiple life forms approaching. Leo's blood ran cold. "They found us," Nova growled, and raced to the cave entrance. Outside, dust clouds rose. 3 black-armored hunters surrounded the ruins, blasters aimed. One of them shouted, "Surrender the creature, boy. You don't know what it is." Leo stepped in front of Nova, his voice steady. "You don't know either. He's not yours." The leader raised his weapon. "You're a child. You're in the way." Leo didn't back down, but Nova stepped forward, head lowered, fur rising, fire flickering at his paws. The leader shouted, "He's bonding, fire mode now." Before they could shoot, Nova roared. Not a wolf howl, a deep, echoing guardian cry that shook the rocks. The mark on Leo's hand blazed white hot. The blast wave from Nova's roar knocked the hunters back. Rocks fell, dust exploded, flames circled them like a shield. Leo grabbed Nova. "We have to go." Together they ran through a side tunnel deeper into the ruins. The last thing Leo saw before turning the corner was the terror in the hunter's eyes. Not fear of a creature, fear of what it had become. They escaped into the deeper caves and finally rested near a hot spring pool glowing with green light. Leo's heart pounded. "We're in this together now," he whispered, looking at the exhausted but strong Nova. Nova didn't respond. He just curled up beside Leo and placed his head on his lap. In the dark cave, Leo stared at the mark on his hand. He had only wanted to help. But now, he was something else. Not just a nerdy boy, not just a rescuer. He was the key to the last stellar, Feng. And that meant the real danger was only just beginning. The caves were silent. Leo sat by the glowing spring, holding a piece of cloth soaked in warm water. He gently wiped the dust from Nova's fur. The baby alien wolf lay still, breathing, slowly. His glowing blue eyes blinked once, then closed again. They had escaped, but not for long. Leo looked down at the glowing mark on his hand. It had stopped pulsing, but the warmth remained. A strange energy hummed inside him. He was still trying to understand it. Still trying to accept it. Nova had saved them from the hunters. Again. But each time he used his fire, he became more dangerous. More powerful. And it scared Leo, just a little. Not because he didn't trust Nova, but because he didn't trust himself. Later, as they rested, Leo's scanner beeped. Multiple heat signals, moving fast, closing in. Leo stood, heart racing. "They're back," Nova growled low and stood beside him. But this time, it wasn't just hunters. From the scanner screen, Leo saw 6 life forms. 2 human, 4 alien. Strange symbols flashed on their armor. These weren't just bounty hunters. They were trackers, elite, units trained to bring back powerful beings alive or dead. Leo had read about them in old colony files. They didn't talk, they didn't show mercy, and they never failed. Leo grabbed his bag. "We have to go, now." They ran through the tunnels, taking paths Leo had never used before. The caves twisted like a maze, some parts collapsing long ago. Nova moved ahead, sniffing the air and guiding him through, but the shadows behind them moved faster. A loud metallic voice echoed through the walls. "Surrender the Guardian." "The bond is unauthorized," Leo shouted back. "He's not a weapon," another voice responded, cold and cruel. "That's where you're wrong," Nova growled and turned to face the sound. "Nova, no!" Leo pulled him back. "We can't fight them head on." They climbed through a crack in the stone and reached a deep cliff inside the cave. Below, glowing crystals lit up an underground lake. No bridge, no path. Leo looked down. The jump was impossible. "We're trapped." Behind them, heavy boots approached. Then Nova stepped forward, placed his paw on the ground, and the stone cracked. "Nova, what are you—" Before Leo could finish, the energy in Nova's body exploded in a ring of blue fire. The crystals around the cave lit up. The ground shook, the cliff crumbled, and they fell. They hit the water hard. Leo gasped and kicked, grabbing Nova. Together, they floated toward the edge of the lake and climbed out, coughing and soaked. Above them, the cave roof had closed. The explosion had sealed the path behind them. For now, they were safe. Leo lay on the stone floor, chest rising fast. "You did that, didn't you?" Nova wagged his tail once. Just once. Leo laughed, even through the pain. "You crazy mutt." They camped in the new cave section. It was warmer here, and the crystals gave off a soft light. Leo removed his wet jacket and hung it over a rock. He looked at Nova again, this time with different eyes. Not as a rescued creature, not even as a protector, but as a partner. "I think I'm changing too," Leo whispered. "When you get angry, I feel it. When you're scared, I know it." Nova looked at him, quiet and serious. Then Leo said something he hadn't before. "Do you feel me too?" Nova stepped forward and rested his forehead against Leo's chest. In that moment, Leo felt it all. Pain from years of torture, loneliness locked in chains, and now, hope. Warm, fragile hope. Nova didn't need words. He had Leo. Suddenly, a new voice echoed in the cave. But this one wasn't cold. It was soft, female, wise. So, you're the one he chose. Leo spun around. From the shadows, a tall alien woman stepped forward. Her skin shimmered like silver. Her eyes were sharp, ancient. She wore a long cloak with the royal crest Leo had seen in the scrolls. Nova stepped back, alert, but not aggressive. The woman raised her hand gently. I am the last empress of the Solari, and that creature you saved is my people's last guardian. Leo's eyes widened. You know him? She nodded. He was taken from our royal ship many years ago, stolen as a baby. We believed he died, but your bond means he survived. And now, the bloodline awakens again. Leo couldn't speak. The Empress looked at him kindly. But know this, human boy. The bond has a price. The more you feel for him, the more your soul will change. And once fully awakened, neither of you will be normal again. Leo looked at Nova. He smiled. I was never normal to begin with. Nova let out a small, proud howl. The Empress nodded slowly. Then prepare yourself. For the ones hunting you will not stop. And the final test is yet to come. The cave was quiet, but Leo couldn't sleep. He sat with his back against the wall, watching the blue flames gently flicker from Nova's paws. The baby alien wolf had curled up after the Empress left. But Leo could tell. Something inside Nova was changing. His body looked stronger, his breathing deeper. Even in sleep, his fur sparked with strange energy. Leo looked at the glowing mark on his hand. It wasn't a simple mark anymore. It had grown. Now, thin, glowing lines stretched up his wrist and wrapped around his arm like roots, his heart beat in rhythm with it. He didn't know if that was good or bad. The Empress had given him a warning before she left. If the bond continues, you will not remain a normal boy. The Guardian's instincts will become yours, and when rage comes, so will fire. Leo didn't tell Nova, but he was scared. What if one day he lost control? What if the fire wasn't just Nova's, but his too? The next morning, Leo woke to a sharp sound. Crack. He opened his eyes fast. Nova stood on the edge of the crystal lake, his eyes glowing bright, body tense. Before Leo could say anything, Nova released a blast of heat into the air. Fire shot upward, burning across the cave roof. Nova, stop! Leo shouted, but Nova didn't stop. He roared, loud, deep, terrifying. It shook the cave. Leo stepped forward, hand raised. Nova, it's me, calm down! Nova's flames swirled, his fur bristled. His form grew, larger than before. He was slipping into something dangerous. Then Leo's hand glowed, and not just the mark. His entire arm lit up. He felt Nova's emotions flooding into him. Anger, confusion, pain, and fear. Leo understood. Nova wasn't trying to hurt anyone, he was scared of himself. Leo dropped to his knees. Nova, I'm here. I'm not afraid. You're not alone anymore. The moment Leo said those words, the fire stopped. Nova collapsed, panting hard. His form shrank slightly and he dragged himself to Leo's side, laying his head on Leo's lap. Leo stroked his fur gently. You're still you. Don't let the fire win. Nova's eyes slowly closed. The bond between them pulsed warmly. They had survived the fire again, but the danger was growing. Later that day, Leo took Nova out of the cave. They traveled toward the outer zone of the old colony, a place with quiet fields and ancient ruins, far from the hunters. As they walked, Leo spoke softly. I don't think the Empress can protect us. Not from what's coming. Nova looked up. Leo continued. The trackers, the hunters, they're scared of what you can become, and maybe they should be. But I'm not. Nova wagged his tail once. Suddenly the sky above cracked with thunder. A dark shadow passed over them. A ship, sleek, black, and deadly. It circled once, then landed in the distance. Leo froze. They found us. From the ship, 2 armored beasts stepped out, unlike anything Leo had seen. Not aliens, not machines, a mix of both. Metal claws, glowing red eyes. Their voices were robotic and cold. "We seek the Guardian. Stand aside, human." Leo stepped forward. No. One of the machines raised its weapon, but before it could fire, Nova stepped between them, growling so deep it made the ground vibrate. Flames circled his paws again. The machines laughed. The Guardian is still young, untrained, weak. Nova's eyes flared. Leo didn't stop him this time. "Nova," Leo whispered. "Show them what weak looks like." With a roar, Nova charged. Fire exploded around him as he leapt into the air. He slammed into one of the machines, burning through its metal chest. The other fired, but Leo rolled aside, tossing a flash bomb he had built weeks ago. Boom! The light blinded the machine. Nova hit again, this time harder. But then, the machine struck back. It slammed Nova into the ground. Hard. Nova howled. Leo screamed, "No!" And that's when it happened. Leo's body lit up like lightning. Blue fire, just like Nova's, rushed from his mark down to his feet. Surrounding him in light, the machine turned its weapon toward Leo. Leo raised his hand, and fire answered. A wave of flames shot forward, not from Nova, but from Leo himself. It hit the machine full force. Smoke filled the field. Sparks flew. When it cleared, both machines were gone. Only ashes remained. Leo stood, his eyes wide. His hand still glowed. Nova got up slowly and limped over to him. They looked at each other. Leo whispered, "What are we becoming?" Nova didn't have an answer. But the fire did. It had chosen both of them. That night they rested beneath the stars. Leo spoke softly. "You're not just a beast, Nova. You're my friend, my partner, and I'll never let them take you again." Nova rested his head beside him. And for the first time, they dreamed the same dream, a world where no one chained them, where they ran free. Together. The sun rose slowly over the quiet hills. The battle from yesterday still echoed in Leo's mind. He sat by the edge of a broken stone tower, staring at the burned field where the 2 machines had fallen. Nova lay nearby, resting, his chest rising slowly. His fur still held streaks of fire, but his eyes, his beautiful glowing blue eyes, remained calm. Leo flexed his fingers. The glowing mark on his hand now reached up to his shoulder. He could still feel the heat from the flames he had called. Not Nova's flames. His own. "I'm changing," Leo whispered. And not just inside. He looked at his reflection in a shard of metal. His pupils were no longer round, they were slit like a wolf's. He didn't know if he was scared or proud. That's when he heard footsteps. Light. Graceful. Familiar. He turned quickly, and there she stood, the Empress. Clothed in her silver cloak, her eyes shining with royal power, she stepped through the tall grass like a ghost from the stars. Nova stood instantly and bowed his head. Leo stood tense. "You followed us." The Empress nodded. "I had to. You awakened the bond." Leo frowned. "You said there'd be a price. What is it?" The Empress stepped closer, voice calm. "You and the Guardian are now one soul in 2 bodies. If he dies, part of you will die with him. If you fall, he will burn the world trying to reach you." Leo looked at Nova. The little wolf didn't flinch. He understood. Leo whispered, "Why was he made this way?" The Empress turned and pointed to the stars. "Long ago, my people ruled 10 worlds. Each royal child was given a guardian, a stellar fang. But during the last war, our enemies began stealing the cubs. They wanted to use them as weapons." Leo nodded slowly. Nova was one of them. Yes. And the worst part is, they succeeded with others. Some grown stellar fangs are now monsters, twisted, loyal to no one. You're lucky Nova's soul stayed pure. Leo stepped forward. But he's not just a guardian now. He's family. The Empress smiled softly. That is what makes him strong. But it also makes you dangerous. Suddenly the ground rumbled. The sky darkened. A ship appeared overhead, massive, black, shaped like a claw. Not a hunter's ship. This one was alive. The Empress's face went pale. No. They've come. Leo looked up. Who? The ship opened, revealing a figure. Tall, covered in armor, made of bones. Eyes glowing red. The warlord of the Forgotten. As he stepped forward with 2 adult stellar fangs by his side. Twisted, corrupted versions of Nova. Their fur was black as ash, and fire bled from their teeth. Nova growled low. The Empress whispered, "That is what Nova will become, if he loses you." The warlord's voice echoed across the land. "Give us the boy, or we burn every world you've ever walked." Leo stepped forward, heart racing. "No." The warlord laughed. "Then burn with him." He pointed, and the corrupted fangs leapt forward. Nova didn't wait. He dashed ahead, crashing into one of them. Fire met fire, and the air exploded. Leo raised his hand. The mark flared. The other corrupted fang charged him. Leo stood still. Just before impact, a shield. A fire rose around him. The corrupted beast slammed into it and howled in pain. The Empress stood beside Leo. "You've only tasted the bond, but to win, you must complete it." Leo shouted through the flames. "How?" She pointed to Nova. "Say the vow, out loud, from your soul." Leo turned to Nova, who was fighting with everything he had. His small form thrown, bitten, burned. But he kept getting back up. Leo stepped forward and shouted with all his heart. "Nova, from this day forward, I'm yours. Your pain is mine, your fire is mine, I won't leave you. Not now, not ever." The moment the last word left Leo's mouth, the mark exploded with light. Nova stopped, looked up, their eyes locked, and something ancient awoke. Nova roared, a sound not of fear, but of power. His body grew. Wings of flame burst from his back. Flew, not jumped, flew. He struck the corrupted fang mid-air and sent it crashing into the warlord himself. The other beast tried to flee, but Leo raised his hand, and a chain of blue fire shot out, pulling it back. Nova landed beside Leo, now, almost his size, his fur glowing like the stars. The warlord rose, limping. He looked at Leo and Nova together. 2 souls, now 1. He didn't laugh this time. He ran. When the smoke cleared, the Empress stepped forward. She bowed. "To the new guardian king." Leo shook his head. "I'm not a king." She smiled. "Not yet." The stars looked closer than ever. Leo sat on a cliff with Nova, who now rested calmly beside him. His size no longer small and fragile, but large, powerful, majestic. His fur shimmered with stardust and flame, and his wings, though folded, glowed. Faintly in the dark, the bond was complete. Leo could feel Nova's breath in his chest, hear his heartbeat even in silence. But peace didn't last long. The wind changed. The ground trembled. Nova lifted his head. Leo stood. "He's back." From beyond the hills, a red storm rolled in, swirling fast. Lightning cracked. A black figure appeared at its center, the warlord of the Forgotten Fangs. He wasn't alone this time. A whole pack of corrupted alien wolves followed behind. 10, maybe more. Bigger than Nova, covered in armor and shadow. Their eyes burned with hate. Leo clenched his fists. The Empress had warned him, "The final battle won't be about power, it will be about will. Your bond is strong, but it must burn brighter than their rage." The warlord's voice roared across the valley. "You think love can tame the beast? You think loyalty makes you stronger? I was bonded once, and I lost. Everything, that's why I fight alone, that's why I win. Leo stepped forward, eyes glowing. You lost because you gave up. I didn't. He turned to Nova and whispered, one last time. Let's burn the sky together. Nova howled, and it echoed across the stars. The corrupted pack charged. Nova's wings opened. He leapt into the air like a meteor, his fire lighting the battlefield. Leo ran forward, the mark on his arm glowing bright. He jumped high, landing on Nova's back in midair, as if they had trained together for years. Nova dove straight into the enemy line. Flames erupted. The battle was like a storm of stars and fury. Nova moved faster than ever, his claws striking like lightning. Leo controlled the flames from above, creating shields and blasts of heat. Together they were unstoppable, but the enemy was endless. For every beast that fell, another took its place. Then the warlord entered the fight himself. He struck Leo, midair, knocking him off Nova's back. Leo hit the ground hard. Pain exploded in his chest. He rolled and gasped. Nova roared, trying to get to him, but the warlord blocked the path. The warlord's weapon shimmered with dark fire. He stepped over. Leo, voice cold. This ends now. Leo, broken and breathless, smiled. No. This begins now. He placed his hand on the earth. The bond between him and Nova surged, a memory burned through them both. Nova, cold and chained. Leo, lonely and forgotten. Their first look. Their first trust. Their first fire. The flames exploded again. Not just from Nova, from Leo. He stood up. The ground around him burned bright blue. His eyes were no longer human. He was something new, something more. Nova howled and flew into the warlord, biting deep. They rolled, clawed, burned. But the warlord was strong, too strong. He slammed Nova into the ground. Leo screamed, "Nova!" And suddenly, he disappeared. In a flash of light, Leo was beside Nova, his hand on his chest. The fire between them flared. They weren't two beings anymore. They were one. The warlord's blade came down, but it never touched them. Instead, a massive, blue wolf made of fire and light stood in their place. Its eyes were Leo's. Its soul was Nova's. The warlord stumbled back. What are you?" The wolf didn't answer. It howled, a howl that shattered the storm clouds above. The corrupted wolves froze and vanished. The warlord tried to run. The wolf moved like lightning, and with one final flash, he was gone. Silence, then wind, then starlight, and slowly, the blue wolf separated. Leo dropped to his knees. Nova stood beside him, smaller now, tired but alive. They had won. Later, as the Empress stood over the battlefield, she placed her hand on Leo's shoulder. "You didn't just save Nova. You saved the future of the Guardians." Leo smiled weakly. "I just wanted him to be free." Nova licked his face. The Empress looked at the stars. The bonfire, the last one, was never about war. It was about trust. "You passed." She turned to leave. Leo asked, "What happens now?" She looked back. "That's up to you." Months passed, the galaxy changed. Stories were told of a human boy and a star wolf who saved the forgotten. They never stayed in one place. They traveled world to world, finding chained beasts, freeing lost guardians, healing broken bonds. Where there was fire, there was hope. And at the center of it all, Leo and Nova running side by side forever.